right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
We should not be gathering here to do a candlelight vigil for something that should have never taken place.
Tragic loss. The man hailed a hero for protecting his pregnant wife, killed Christmas Eve. The candlelight vigil in his memory.
After a relatively dry day, and the first one we've had in a while, we're going to start to see another surge of moisture from the south. As the rain continues into the overnight hours, we'll talk about how much we're going to get and how long into your Sunday it lingers.
But first, a Ferguson gun battle leaves 1 dead, 2 hurt, and police on the move as officers search for suspects.
We're currently looking for possibly 2 or more suspects that's involved with this.
Good evening, I'm Mark Maxwell. Robert Townsend has the night off. Right now, Ferguson police continue to search for those suspects after that deadly gun battle. Annie Krall joins us now in the newsroom with details from police who heard those shots ring out near a North City grocery store. Annie?
Mark, Ferguson police telling us this afternoon a gunfight blocked off a Florissant Road neighborhood for hours. Officers finding a man dead in a car after the ruthless gun battle. It was around 12:15 p.m. Saturday when Ferguson police got a call about a shooting at the Schnucks Market in the 40th block of South Florissant.
Within a minute, our officers responded. Upon responding, the individuals involved with this gun battle had fled the scene.
As several people scattered, the chaos in broad daylight had only just begun. Less than half a mile away, officers heard more gunshots near South Clark Avenue and Carson Road, then put out an officer in need of aid call.
Our officers witnessed a gun battle taking place. We found an individual deceased on the scene there, and 2 other individuals fled the scene.
Other agencies responded to the scene, including Berkeley and St. Louis County Police, along with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. They eventually found a disabled car at the Carson intersection with a man dead inside, apparently hit by gunfire. While police say multiple people ran away from the chaotic gun battle, they were able to take 1 person into custody.
One of our officers did capture an individual that fled from the scene, and we was able to locate a weapon from that individual.
St. Louis County Police saying shortly after the shooting, at least 2 other people arrived at area hospitals for treatment of gunshot injuries. Now, the shootout is being investigated as a homicide. Police say they are left to track down at least 2 suspects, if not more.
Like I say, it's an active, ongoing investigation, and we're still looking for people.
Police have not said how old the victim was. No officers were hurt during the shootout. There's more information possible as of this evening. Ferguson police have opened up South Florissant Road and Carson Road, but urge people to be cautious. Anyone with information is asked to reach out to the St. Louis County Police Department. That number is on your screen at 636-529-8210.
A man is recovering in the hospital, and a suspect is behind bars tonight after a shooting downtown. It happened at a makeshift camp near 15th and Market Street around 6:30 this morning. That's right across the street from the Stiefel Theater. Metro Police got to the scene and found a victim shot in the leg. He was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Police also found a stolen gun at the scene before tracking down the suspected shooter at a nearby Greyhound station. Charges are being filed and the investigation is ongoing.
I miss Kevin dearly. I know he won't be coming through my door no more. I know I've cried so many tears. I'm empty. I'm empty.
This afternoon, friends and family gathering together to remember Kevin Ward. The 26-year-old and soon-to-be dad was shot and killed on Christmas Eve. Now his father is behind bars accused of pulling the trigger. But as clouds hung over Cliff Cave Park, one of Ward's favorite places to be, according to his mother, loved ones lit candles in his memory. Ward's mom called him a jokester, always trying to make people laugh, and said all he wanted the day he died was to spend time with his dad.
That's all Kevin ever wanted, was Harold to love him. That was it. And he was wanting to bond and spend that time with his dad that day. And I'm going to every court date. I'm going to make sure the first person he sees in that courtroom is me, because I am Kevin's voice now. I am his advocate, and I'm going to make sure justice is done.
Kevin's baby is expected to be born in June. A GoFundMe is set up for his family now. It's raised more than $1,100 already. If you'd like to donate, there's a link on our website, KSDK.com. You can find it under the As Seen on TV section. Here's a live look downtown as the rain rolls in for another dreary night. Maybe a look at some of the birds flying around in front of the arch there. Those showers expected to make a comeback as we kick off the next week and the new year. Our meteorologist Gary Frank here now with a look ahead at our weather impact forecast. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, good evening. As we look in Arnold, you can see the wet roadways. Rain starting to settle in from south and southeast as advertised at 5 and 6 o'clock. And really over the last 24 hours, we've talked about the rain arriving. You can see that. And here's this wide wall of rain that goes from Farmington all the way up to Nashville, Mount Vernon with light to moderate rain. That continues. And you'll notice that it's picking up just a little bit. Anywhere from 55 south of Prairie du Rocher and Redbud, you're going to see our rain pick up in intensity and coverage just a little bit more, as well as areas in the downtown St. Louis region. Not quite as much, right? I showed you those cameras. You could see maybe some light drizzle is settling in as well. And I think there's going to be a pretty good dividing line from, say, Wildwood, Cottleville, Bridgeton, or areas around the airport over the next couple of hours. But look at the fog. I mean, it is getting foggy. Half a mile visibility in Rolla. There are some counties to our north and northwest that are involved in a dense fog advisory. We'll share that. Here's the birds, Mark. I know you wanted to see it because we've got that fog settling in over the arch, 54. It is raining at the airport, as is indicated by that icon. And this evening, we're going to see more rain that settles in. Over the next several hours, your main weather impact will be rain settling in overnight. But we are going to see the sunshine tomorrow, believe it or not. It is very hard to believe. We'll talk about that and have another look at radar here in about 5 minutes.
Homelessness is on the rise in the U.S. That's according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This week, the federal government said homelessness jumped 18% this year compared to last year when it spiked 12%. That jump is the highest increase since the government agency started releasing this report back in 2007. Rates of families with children alone went up 39%. Federal officials are blaming a lack of affordable housing, inflation, and natural disasters, among other reasons for the uptick.
It's a multifaceted problem that's going to really require a multifaceted approach.
As rates of homelessness increase nationwide, medical professionals in St. Louis are hoping to help address a lack of health care for many people in need. Since 2020, nonprofit Street Med STL has tried to do that through volunteer action every Saturday. But the lack of health care available to homeless people is a problem that can't be fixed alone, according to Mercy Hospital's Dr. Farron Mannion.
We have to have some kind of a path to get there, and that path can't be achieved by individuals. It has to be achieved as a group, as a region. If you want to really have an impact, you need to collaborate. You really need to collaborate. You can't do any of this stuff by yourself. It's not sustainable.
Mercy Hospital is hosting a symposium dedicated to this issue, addressing health care for the homeless. That day-long seminar will include national experts, local health leaders, and charity directors. It's January 17 from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. From crashes to fires and floods, the roads can be unpredictable. How to protect yourself when things take a dangerous turn.
Visibility is low. It's harder for drivers to see what's ahead.
Consumer Reports shares tips to help you stay safe when the unexpected strikes. Wild weather sweeping coast to coast during one of the busiest travel seasons of the year.
You got to be ready for anything.
The dangerous conditions that whipped across the country.
Over the last 7 days, we've only seen one day that's been below freezing, and that was last Sunday. Well, of course, we're not going to hit that today, but we do have a day in the 7-day forecast that tells us when we're below freezing. We'll talk about what streak that ends and what we're going to see in the new year.
Roads are once again open over on I-70 near Lambert Airport, where multiple lanes were closed there after a crash involving a pedestrian. Missouri State Highway Patrol responded to that scene around 4:25 this afternoon near Air Flight Drive. That's where they say a woman was trying to cross the traffic lanes and a car hit her. MSHP says the victim was taken to the hospital seriously hurt. Driving conditions can change in an instant, but knowing how to protect yourself can make a big difference in surviving a crash, fire, flood, or severe storm. Consumer Reports reveals essential ways to stay safe when things take a turn for the worse.
What started as a routine drive changed in the blink of an eye for Andrea Garncars.
The bag to the car blew up on the steering wheel. There was an accident.
Andrea says a car slammed into hers from behind. Her car was wrecked and she was shaken.
I was just like in a state of shock.
The best way to protect yourself is to reduce the risk of a crash. Bad weather like fog, rain, snow, or ice can lead to a chain reaction crash.
When visibility is low, it's harder for drivers to see what's ahead. Cars also take longer to stop on wet or icy roads, so it's really important to slow down and leave space between you and other vehicles to help keep you safe.
Pay attention to the drivers around you, especially those following too closely. In slippery conditions, ease off the gas to slow down instead of applying the brakes forcefully, which can cause skidding. There are other scary car situations where Consumer Reports says knowing what to do can make the difference between life and death. While less common than they were decades ago, almost 400 passenger vehicle fires still happen on average every day. If it happens to you, act fast.
Pulling over immediately is crucial if you smell smoke or see flames. Once stopped, shut off the car, get out, and move at least 100 feet away from the vehicle and call 911. Attempting to fight the fire on your own, especially without the appropriate extinguisher, can be a deadly mistake.
Consumer Reports also recommend staying away from the front and back of the car to avoid flying parts. It's safer to stay upwind to avoid breathing in harmful gases, and if you can, stand behind a guardrail or off the road in case another car hits the vehicle. Then there's flooding. Flooded roads are more dangerous than they look. Just 12 inches of water can sweep away a small car, and 2 feet of water can move larger vehicles. Even a small puddle can cause you to lose control, so it's important to stay cautious. Since it's often hard to gauge the depth of water, the best advice is to avoid driving through any standing water. Turn around and take a different route, or stay home until the weather clears up. Besides the personal risk, floodwaters can ruin your engine and electronics, sometimes leaving your car beyond repair. As for Andrea Garncars, she knows she was lucky.
Thankfully, nothing happened to my legs on top of it because of the bash into the front of the bus.
Well, as we continue to look at rain settling in, all part of this system that is pushing its way to the north. A little further south, that's where you'd be in a pickle when we're talking about severe weather, active severe weather right now. We're staying away from that, but we have different issues. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break.
Holiday travelers coming home this weekend could see more airport delays as severe storms roll in down south and even more slam the west. Millions are under a tornado watch across the country tonight as those storms touch down in Texas. John Lawrence has more.
Just hope it breaks up.
Tonight, the South under siege. An outbreak of twisters slamming across Louisiana and Texas.
If you're in any of these communities, you need to be seeking your shelter now.
At least 8 possible tornadoes cutting a path of destruction. Trees and power lines down. Parts of buildings smashed to pieces by winds of 70 miles an hour or more. You can see its force on this traffic cam near Galveston.
The inside it's mashed. It's in bad shape.
The storm turning deadly, killing at least one person near Houston.
You see all that is picked up?
In nearby Katy, Texas, Quentin Lawton spotting this twister.
What was your reaction when you saw that funnel cloud?
It was a lot of dread, knowing that the storm was rotating and knowing that there were a lot of neighborhoods nearby.
There goes.
The extreme weather, part of a larger system building for days. On Friday, at least 5 tornadoes tore through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama.
It's getting bigger.
In Mobile, Alabama, high winds ripped apart trees and took down power lines. In Jackson, Mississippi, this massive tree smashing into a house, injuring 2 people inside. These storms also colliding with one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, delaying thousands of flights and canceling hundreds more. Thunderstorms grounding flights in both Houston and Dallas.
If you're traveling at this time of year, you got to be ready for anything.
22 million are at risk of severe weather, producing 70-mile-per-hour winds and 2-inch hail. While out west, on alert for avalanches and mudslides. Mountain snow piling up in Washington, with 2 feet possible on Mount Rainier, making travel difficult to impossible. The storms not taking a break this holiday.
And a look at that fierce weather across the nation. We want to check in now with Gary Frank to see what we're in for in our neck of the woods here. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, good evening, Mark. We're on the northern edge of that. Obviously, we've been pretty stable in terms of lack of heat, but it's been pretty moist. And, that's why we've been dealing with the fog. We've had this warm, moist air mass that's been in place. And with temps holding steady pretty much between 45 to 59 at any given point the last 4 to 5 days. You know, we just have seen fog land, and you see that now turn to rain, and we see that in Chesterfield, and now see less of the arch here as we have that lowering deck of cloud cover. 54 right now, our dew point at 51. I talk about when those numbers are close together, especially this time of the year, that's when we're seeing that type of fog, but 59 was our high today. We have a light north breeze, but we're on pace for the warmest final week of the year. We got a 49.2 degree average temperature, which is incredibly impressive when you think of our average high being 42 and our average low being in the upper 20s. You know, that does not come anywhere close to this number. So it's been consistently warm, and we've had a consistent stream of moisture here from the south. And you'll see that rain. Like I mentioned, look at all the severe weather to the south, this wall of a severe thunderstorm warning, which at one point was a tornado warning along the leading edge of that line. Now, this is not out of the question. They do have a second severe weather season in the south and southeast. So this isn't out of the question. We just haven't had it in a while, and it's December, and it's right around the holidays. So it's always a little interesting. But when we zoom into our area, like I mentioned, we also have some rain that's settling in from Carlisle breeze. This is picking up in Kinmundy as well. The back edge of it really now is at 255. Working its way into 270. You'll see that, like I mentioned, it's raining a little in Chesterfield, but it's raining a lot harder in Redbud and Sparta and St. Gent as well. So you're seeing that over the next several hours. That rain continues through midnight, and then through about 4 or 5 o'clock, it starts to break up and works its way out of here by 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So do expect that we're in the mid to upper 40s with showers, but we're going to have more of a northwest breeze, I think, once we turn into mid-morning. And that's why when you look at our current temperatures, it is colder, but it's not going to cool down rapidly as long as we have that colder air that is way to the north. So as on the back edge of the system, you also see that fog, which does include one county, that's Pike County in our area, till midday tomorrow. It's still foggy, and like I mentioned, through the rest of the day, look, we're going to try to clear out. There will be some sunshine tomorrow, but I still think that overall temperatures are in the low to mid 50s, trying to clear out. I do expect that overall this warm air stays with us Monday, Tuesday, and then by Wednesday into Thursday, that's when it starts to get a little cold and then a lot of cold after that. So early showers tomorrow, 53, with Mark's favorite fireworks on Tuesday night into Wednesday. We'll be celebrating.
I know the kids love it on a school night. Well, you got the.
Is it a school night?
Well,
I don't think so, Mark. I believe the kids are off for New Year's Day.
You know, so
the kids and many people from work. It's actually a bank holiday.
Right.
And political holiday as well.
It is. Thanks.
From what I've understood.
Verify with Gary Frank. All right. Hey, Michaela McGee is here now with a look ahead with what's in sports.
All right. Well, the Billikens hoping to snap a 3-game losing streak in their final non-conference game of the season against William Woods. We'll have highlights from the night coming up in sports.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
I thought this was one of Thomas's best overall games. You know, I thought he was a dominant player out there, and that's what we need from him.
High praise from coach Robert Thomas led the Blues with 2 goals in last night's 7-4 win against the Nashville Predators. 6 different players contributed to the total, showing some offensive depth. With 2 consecutive wins under their belt, the Note will host the Buffalo Sabres Sunday afternoon. The Sabres have also won back-to-back games, scoring big in both matches against the Islanders and Blackhawks. It seems like both the Blues and the Sabres are hitting a turning point in their seasons. The Blues have shown resilience in the face of a lineup chaos, and their ability to stay competitive is a sign of positivity here. Now Cam Fowler weighing in.
You know, heading into the holiday break, I know the guys were a little disappointed. We were having trouble scoring goals, but we just knew if we stuck with it and continued to do the right things, that things would turn around. And I thought we did a lot of good things offensively tonight, and you know, saw a good result from the guys and putting up 7, so it was nice.
The St. Louis Billikens were on their home court tonight against William Woods, hoping to end a 3-game losing streak. Gibson Jimerson passes ahead to Kalu Anya, Eurostep bucket and 1. Jimerson pushing the ball himself, and the best shooter in SLU history rocks his defender and drains a 3. Redshirt sophomore and my fellow Pattonville alum Kellen Thames grabs a board, looks up court, and finds Dylan Warlick for the slam and 1. Bills did a great job running the floor tonight and were able to win 78-57 over William Woods in their final non-conference matchup. And Illinois men's basketball is riding on a high after that nail-biting win against Mizzou in the bragging rights game. They will take their home court tomorrow against the Chicago State Cougars at 1 p.m., their final home game in 2024. Marquette and Webster Groves facing off in the Coaches vs. Cancer tournament. Stangs kick out for three. That's Alex Komarich from behind the arc and letting it be known. Great hands by Brady Shoot-Pills, and then Scotty Atkinson for Webster Groves finishes on the other end. Really athletic player he is. And the sophomore showing some versatility. Scotty knocking down a three from the three-point land, feeling good. No final to share with you all at the moment, but I'm sure a hard-fought game by both teams to the finish. And we're going to keep it rolling and go show our girls some love. A packed house for the Visitation Tournament championship game between Live for Life and the Incarnate Word Red Knights. Quick hands by Zah Harris for the Lady Hawks, who takes it to the other end and puts two on the board. The two Paytons for Incarnate connect on a driving kick. It's Olafson who drains the three. Live for Life on the attack, and Sadia Brock banks one in. You've heard her name, remember it. Nevaeh Caffey scoring whichever way she pleased tonight. Incarnate Word keeps their infamous win streak alive and walks away champs with a 65-47 victory. Not only did they get the championship for the Visitation Tournament, that was their 138th straight win in a row.
A win that would make Pat Summitt proud.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Rolfus and company know what's going on over there.
Pretty cool. All right, Gary, you got a last check of our weather?
Yeah, they're coming out to some rain here. Whatever event you're going on to tonight, the rain is settling. And a lot of us are on the northwestern edge of that. But on the Illinois side, you're in the middle of it. It's moderate rain. You're with it for now. And I think it's going to be with us through about 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So be prepared for that. But I do think the sun comes out later on in the afternoon.
All right, that's all of our time for 5 on your side at 10. But your local news and weather is always available on 5+. Saturday Night Live is next. Have a great night.